Okay, in the same way, we also did about the different levels of language. Okay, these different levels of language, uh, and there are how many levels? Three different levels of language. Okay, what are they? Phonological level, grammatical level, and what? And which one? Semantic level. Okay, we defined about these three different levels of language, and under um, the grammatical level, we have what? We have how many? Two different sub labels. They are what? They are morphological level and what? Morphological level and syntactic level. Okay, that's why we did the levels of language as a phonological level, grammatical level, and semantic level. These three are the different levels of language. The next one that we did is varieties of language. Okay, what are the different varieties of language that you did before? Okay, dialect, register, and dialect. Okay, these are the three different varieties of language we did before, and we also did about the definition of linguistics. What linguistics is? Okay, linguistics is the scientific study of language. Okay, why linguistics is scientific? Because scientific linguistics is scientific in its spirit, in its principles, and in its methods of investigation. Okay, these 3 points we defined before in the definition of linguistics. Okay, and together with the definition of linguistics, we did about what? Different branches of linguistics. How many branches of linguistics are there altogether? Altogether, how many? 14 different branches. Okay, but in our course of study, they are divided into, they are, let's say, classified into 9 different types. Okay, the 5 of them are in pair and 4 of them are in isolation. Okay, in this way, we have different branches of linguistics. Okay, we did up to that before in our physical class. Okay, in our physical class, we read about that. Okay, about these 8 different subtopics. Okay, 8 different subtopics. Now we'll move to next sub title, that is key concepts of language and linguistics. Okay? Key concepts of language and linguistics. Under key concepts of language and linguistics, we have the first one, Langue and Parole. Okay? This is the new concept for you. Okay, that you can copy out from here. अब यहाँबाट तिमीले पुरै कपी आउट गर्छ है, कपी गर्छ है। यो चाहिँ हाम्रो अब आज पढ्ने नयाँ चाहिँ आजबाट हामीले यो 1.8 सम्मको हाम्रो फिजिकल क्लासमा हामीले सकिसक्यो। In our virtual class, we'll start from 1.9. That is key concepts of language and linguistics. Under key concepts of language and linguistics, okay, there are different concepts. There are different terms, okay, given to describe. Okay, the first concept, the first term is what? Langue and Parole, and these are the two opposing views regarding language and linguistics. Okay, these two opposing views in language and linguistics are also known as the dichotomies in language and linguistics. That's why this Langue and Parole are the two different dichotomies in language and linguistics. They are the dichotomies, means the opposing views. Okay, the opposing views. They one is the opposite to other. That is, Langue is the opposite of Parole, and Parole is the opposite of Langue. Okay, in the same way, we have next concept, competence and performance. The next key concept of language and linguistics is competence and performance. Okay, what is competence and what is performance? Okay, we'll do about that later. Okay, just like Langue and Parole, we have the concept of competence and performance. Langue and Parole are the terms of they are the in modern linguistics, the same Lang and Parole are described as what? Competence and performance. The concept of Lang and Parole and competence and performance are more or less the same. Okay. And the third concept under language and linguistics is relationship among form, substance, function, and meaning. Okay. Here, what is the relationship between form, substance, function, and meaning will be studied here. That is, what is the relationship between form and substance? What is the relationship between form and function? And what is the relationship between form and meaning? Okay, these four different form, substance, form, function, and form meaning relationship will be studied here in what? In relationship among form, substance, function, and meaning. Okay, am I audible to you? Are you listening to me well?
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. Is my screen sharing also visible? Have you seen? देखिए
Yes.
ऐसा नहीं? Okay, okay. Try copy करने है. Okay. Now the next one is speech and writing. The next concept in language and linguistics. Under language and linguistics is what? Speech and writing. Speech and writing are also regarded as two opposing views. Okay. Speech. What is speech? Speech is the spoken form of language, and writing is the written form of language. They are not always the same. Okay. Speech and writing, they are not always the same. We may speak in one way, but when we may write differently. Okay, that's why they are regarded as the two opposing views in language and linguistics. Okay, speech and writing. And next one is orthographic writing and phonetic writing. Okay, these two are the different ways of expressing our linguistic course. Okay, that is, we express our linguistic course by orthographic writing and phonetic writing. Okay, the writing that you have seen in the screen is what? That is orthographic writing. है यो तिमीले स्क्रिनमा जे देखिरहेको छ त्यो चाहिँ के हो? That is orthographic writing. Okay, and phonetic writing is what? Phonetic writing uh, is the writing that in which we use what? We use phonemic symbols. For example, a, e, okay, pa, ba, da, da, in this way. For example, cat is orthographic writing, and ko, ya, and to is what? That is phonetic writing. Okay, phonetic writing. These two are the ways of expressing our linguistic words. Okay, words. So we'll do about orthographic writing and phonetic writing while describing about the concepts of language and linguistics. And next one is what? A descriptive grammar and prescriptive grammar. Okay, descriptive grammar and prescriptive grammar are the two different let's say types of grammar. Okay, that is, one grammar is based on the description of language. Okay, language is described to get the rules of grammar, but in prescriptive grammar, what happens is that we prescribe the rules to create the correct grammatical sentences. Okay, that's why descriptive grammar and prescriptive grammar are the two different approaches to grammar. Like grammar ko duita different approaches छ. Okay, these two different approaches of grammar are known as what? Descriptive grammar and prescriptive grammar. Okay, I think you have written. You have copied them. Have you copied? Sarasani? Okay. Next one is, and the last one is what? Syntagmatic relation. Next concept under language and linguistics is syntagmatic relation and paradigmatic relation. Okay, they are the relationship among let's say or in the sentence. One is let's say syntagmatic relation, and another is what? Paradigmatic relation. Okay, These are the relationship within a sentence. Okay, sentence relationship. Syntagmatic is, let's say, horizontal relationship of different elements in a sentence, and paradigmatic relationship is what? Paradigmatic relationship is the vertical relationship. Vertical relationship in what? In a sentence. Okay, that is, we'll define them later. Okay? Later. Okay. Did you finish copying them?
Yes,
Secure?
sir.
Okay. Okay, now I'll move to the next, the description of them. The first one is Langue and Parole. Okay, what is Langue, and we'll do about what is Langue and what is a Parole. Okay, are you ready to copy out? Okay,
Yes,
now
sir. I'm
Langue
ready.
and Parole are two major linguistic terms and concepts, and they are the two major linguistic terms and concepts coined by Ferdinand de Saussure. Okay, Ferdinand de Saussure, um, he coined the terms Langue and Parole in 20th century. Okay, these are the Langue and Parole are the two major linguistic terms and concepts. Okay, now these two are the French words, okay, which stand for two different approaches opposed to each other. Okay, they one, that is Lang opposes to Parole and Parole opposes to Lang. Okay, in this way, these two words are the French words and which are opposite in each other. Okay, so Lang and Parole are the two major linguistic terms, and they are the two different approaches opposed to each other. Okay, now Ferdinand de Saussure, this is the name of the great linguist of, let's say, 20th century. Eh? He is the father of modern linguistics. Who is the father of modern linguistics? Ferdinand de Saussure. Ferdinand de Saussure is the father of modern linguistics and who made a number of dichotomies in language. Okay, one of these is Langue and Parole. Okay, he has made a number of between dichotomies in language. Okay, dichotomies means the opposing views. Just like Langue and Parole are two different opposing views, in the same way there are many. He has made a number of opposing views in language. Okay, Ferdinand de Saussure, and he has one of them is what? One of these is Langue and Parole. Okay, Langue and Parole. Okay, according to Saussure and according to Ferdinand de Saussure, our language consists of both systems, lang system and parole system. Okay, according to Ferdinand de Saussure, he says that our language should have lang system and parole. It should consist of lang and parole both. Okay, and what is lang then, and what is parole then? Okay, we'll define lang and parole here. Okay, Langue, lang, and Parole, parole. Okay, parole, lang is the total language system, and parole is the act of speaking. Okay, the total knowledge of language that you have in you is what is your lang. है, तिमीसँग जति त्यो नेपाली अथवा इङ्ग्लिस ल्याङ्ग्वेजको बारेमा सबै टोटल नलेज कति छ तिम्रो मस्तिष्कभित्र, तिम्रो माइन्डभित्र, द्याट इज वाट, द्याट इज योर ल्याङ. Okay, that is your lang, and parole is whatever you can perform by speaking. तिमीले बोलेर कतिसम्म तिमीले अरूलाई दिन सक्छ, parole भनेको इट इज द एक्ट अफ स्पिकिङ. है, तिम्रो स्पिकिङ अब आफूलेमा भएको ज्ञान सबै बोल्न सम्भावना कति हुन्छ कति हुँदैन हो, त्यो सम्भावना भएको सबै जो all the act of speaking that you do is what is parole. Okay, that's why lang is a total language system, the total linguistic knowledge that you have, and parole is the actual act of speaking. Okay, how much you can deliver to other people. is your parole. Okay, parole. So there is these two are the distinctions, or these two are the, let's say, um, okay, these two are the differences between lang. That's why these two are different in each other. These two are known as the two dichotomies in language and linguistics. Okay, and go on copying faster. अलि छिटो copy गर्ने है. Okay, and in other words, lang is the abstract knowledge of language. It is the abstract knowledge of language. Lang is regarded as the, it is abstract knowledge. It is not clearly seen. It is not visible. Okay, it is not visible. It is not concrete. It is abstract knowledge of language. We do not know how much knowledge a person has. होइन, एउटा व्यक्तिमा कति ज्ञान छ भनेर हामीले थाहा यतिकै देखेर थाहा हुँदैन. Okay, in other words, language is abstract knowledge of language, and parole is the actual or concrete act of speaking on the part of an individual. That is, we can see what parole. अहिले म यहाँ बोलिरहेको छु, यो नै मेरो के हो, parole हो. मैले अहिलेसम्म कति जानेको छु, त्यो सबै के हो, lang हो. Lang. That is, parole is lang is identified on the basis of what? On the basis of parole. कसैको lang कति छ, knowledge कति छ भनेर केबाट थाहा पाउन सकिन्छ, parole-बाट. उसले act of speaking, उसले कस्तो बोल्छ, के गर्छ भन्ने कुराबाट, that we can identify parole, lang by the use of what? By the use of parole. Okay, so parole is what? Parole is the actual or concrete act of speaking on the part of an individual. How much one can deliver through the abstract knowledge that he or she has got is known as what? Parole. है, उसको आफूले भएको त्यो एब्स्ट्राक्ट नलेजबाट कति उसले अरूलाई चाहिँ दिन सक्छ, कति चाहिँ उसले बोल्न सक्छ, हैन, बोलीबाट उसले कति दिन सक्छ, that is known as what? That is known as parole. That's why parole is the actual or concrete act of speaking on the part of an individual. That's why parole is clearly seen, it is clearly visible. Okay, it is clearly audible. Parole is audible, but lang is not audible, lang is not visible. Okay, so lang is a system which consists of the total set of rules or conventions in a language. Okay, that's why we can define it as how lang is a system. It is a system which consists of the total set of rules or conventions in a language. Okay, all the knowledge of grammar, the knowledge of vocabulary, the knowledge of pronunciation in a language is known as what? All the knowledge is what? Knowledge is known as what? Is lang. Okay, lang. Okay, in this way, it is a social event. Okay, lang is a social event, and certainly a mentalistic concept of language system. Okay, whatever is there in our mind. That's why it is a mentalistic concept of a language system. Okay, it is a social event and certainly a mentalistic concept of a language system. Okay, and next one is, there is, it consists of the knowledge of grammar, vocabulary, and pronunciation. That is, lang consists of the knowledge, total knowledge of grammar, total knowledge of vocabulary, and total knowledge of pronunciation. Okay, in this way we define lang. Finished? Sakio?
No, sir.
Okay, do fast. Our time is running out. समय सकिँदैछ, छिटो गर्ने है, हामीसँग अब धेरै छैन, 5-7 मिनेट छ. यो सक्नुपर्छ, हामीले ल्याङ एन्ड परोल सक्नुपर्छ. सँगै सुन्ने काम र लेख्ने काम सँगसँगै गर्ने है.
Finished, sir.
Okay, all of you? Okay, have you all finished? Okay. Okay. Now I'd like to move on to the next one. Okay. Parole. Parole, on the other hand, is the language in its actual manifestation of speaking or writing, you can say. Okay. Speaking or writing. It is the language in its actual manifestation. Manifestation of what? Speaking or writing. Okay. That is when we manifest our lang, it becomes what? It becomes parole. जब त्यो ल्याङलाई हामी मेनिफेस्ट गर्छौँ युज गर्छौँ त्यो के हुन्छ ल्याङलाई युज गर्ने बित्तिकै त्यो परोल भइहाल्छ that is speaking by speaking or writing we can express our lang by speaking or writing and that speaking or writing becomes our parole. Okay, now we can see and hear parole in terms of individual utterances. Okay, that is our parole can be seen or heard in terms of individual utterances. Okay, the utterances we produce the sentences. The sentence production is the parole. That's how we can see and hear a parole. Thus, a parole is the concrete manifestation of a language. It is the concrete manifestation of language, and it is an object to be directly observed and perceived. That we can directly observe and perceive. We can directly observe and perceive what? Perceive language. Okay, that is by parole. That's why parole is the concrete manifestation of language, and it is an object to be directly observed and perceived. Perceived it is so. And in conclusion, how we can conclude is that in conclusion, language system must be constructed from parole. Language system must be constructed from parole, and without parole, lang cannot exist. Okay, lang or a language cannot exist. That's why language system must be constructed from a parole. And without parole, lang cannot exist. You can say without parole, lang cannot. You can change there as lang cannot exist. You can say without parole, lang cannot exist. Okay, in this way you can do. Okay. Okay. Did you finish copying? Yes. Finished?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay. Um, Now some of your friends are still coming. Okay. In this way, that is in conclusion, how we defined Lang and parole is that language system must be constructed out from parole, and without parole, Lang cannot exist. Okay, that's why it is about Lang and parole. Okay, our time is running out. That's what I like to leave. And tomorrow we'll do about what? About competence and performance. The second chapter, second chapter is competence and performance, and we'll do about competence and performance tomorrow. You'll copy out that in your on your notebook. Competence and performance. The concept is the same. as Langue and Parole. Langue is equivalent to what? Competence, and parole is equivalent to performance, or competence is equivalent to Langue and performance is equivalent to parole. The concepts are the same. Only the terms here are different.